Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Noah.
And this is the NFGeeks Christmas Spectacular. All right. Noah, for our last episode, I thought we would kind of go into a more deeper place about Christmas and kind of talk about the meaning of Christmas in a, not necessarily in a melancholy NF bringing it down mode, but more of that NF trying to make it, get into the ideal of Christmas. Talk about it in a little more serious, contemplative way about the meaning of Christmas.
All right.
And I think that's important because, as everyone knows, this Christmas we had a Christmas tragedy in the nation where, there was a shooting and there was deaths of children. And I think because of that, maybe it's a time to kind of, reflect and get into a deeper place about what is the meaning of Christmas, especially in light of some kind of tragedy like this, and kind of really thinking about maybe being more appreciative of Christmas and how things should be going on in Christmas. So, all right. So Noah, now we could talk as J's and NFs and ourselves, and what do you think is the most important thing about Christmas? Really important? We could all say goofy things like eating cookies, whatever. But what do you think as an SJ? Coming from an SJ point of view, is the most important.
Well, when I think of Christmas, I think of it as a giving holiday and a time where we can all go back to that childhood innocence.
Okay, is that innocence the most important part of it for you?
I think so, because in that childhood innocence of Christmas and all that, you have fun, and you know what, you're happy. And you're willing to believe anything, including, the Santa Claus thing. It's very, in a way magical, I guess, but it's all imagination, happy and fun. Much like children.
And that's important, I think, because in light of the tragedy, to really kind of almost to honor them is to kind of remember that part in ourselves. You know what I mean, about the importance of Christmas and the joy of it. And I know that's hard because certainly, in light of the situation, but maybe you have to appreciate that side of it, in terms of that magical innocence. All right, so what examples do you have of that you've experienced, either recently or in the past or whatever, that you think would add to that meaning?
That have happened to me? That I've done?
Yeah, or participated in or whatever.
Well, this year and I believe maybe a couple of years from now, when me and Mom, decorate the tree. Actually, every time I've ever decorated the tree, I always have fun with it. And I always, in a way, act like a child, I guess. Not in a, immature way, but in, a nice, happy way to make the whole event fun. Because this is an event I like, and I like doing a lot. And so I do try to, make it fun. And, be happy for it, like, doing it.
That's great. That's very nice. Is there any past experience to your childhood where you felt the magic of Christmas, or that came about?
I don't know intensely, but I do like it when you and Mom get into it too.
Oh, really?
Like, there was this one year, and I always remember that you sang the most hilarious version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I could not stop laughing, neither could Mom.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I loved it. Seriously. It was so funny.
Oh.
Not to mention, like, through all that has, happened, through you, me, and Mom, I have to say this was one of the times of the year where we all got together no matter what, and we were all really happy. I don't remember, anything really bad happening at Christmas.
Oh. Yeah, that's true. I can see that. One of the more, I'll get to what the meaning is for me a little bit in a minute, but, one of the meaningful Christmas moments I had, actually, was Christmas 2009, even though that was a miserable Christmas because of, again, breaking up with, Beth before that and just being miserable about that. But it was also the last Christmas with your grandmother, and I remember bringing her to church and wheeling her around in the wheelchair. I got the wheelchair fixed and wheeling her around in it. You were probably with your mother, I think. I don't remember you being there. Were you?
Yeah, I don't. No, yeah. Well,
because there was oxygen in the chair and all that.
Yeah, yeah. The last time I remember going with Grammy, I don't think we had the oxygen.
Yeah, so it was probably a couple of years. So the last time I brought her to church was the Christmas before she died. And she always liked to go to Christmas Mass. That was a big thing. In my childhood, we never missed a Christmas Mass. And that actually leads to the NF part. So all right, so what's interesting, what makes that SJ, is that what the meaning of Christmas for you isn't, not only has to do with childlike things, but actually family, doing things with family, being part of a family, doing a family tradition. It's that's something very SJ about that, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
do you feel it fits with your SJ values and all that?
Yeah, yeah. Because we'd always get it done, and another thing I always liked is that we always went outside to see how it would look.
Oh, you mean that's right? We would do that even after your mother and I split up. We would do it at my house. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd leave it on, and then we'd go across the street.
We'd have to leave Grammy up there.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh God, and that was another funny thing too. Always getting her up the stairs and getting her there, and she always only sat on the couch and talked to you and Mom about where you were putting the ornaments and the lights and the tinsel.
That's right. Why the hell are you putting that thing there?
Yeah, but it was again a family thing, and she never really got that bad.
Oh, she was horrible.
Oh, she wasn't.
She was. This is what I mean by SJ fascism. She was so difficult. She was very difficult.
Okay, but it didn't ruin the holiday.
It almost ruined it every time. For me,
Okay,
it was
but
so
at least,
emotionally
maybe
difficult.
Mom brought it up a little.
Yeah, I'm talking about specifically about her. She was tough. All right, but my childhood experiences, a lot of memory. Even though I always got beautiful things for Christmas and all sorts of stuff.
That clock.
The clock, I'll tell you this, before I get to that, my worst childhood Christmas, this was so freaking miserable. And again, there's sort of a side, I'll give it a 21st century version of this, I guess. But one Christmas, I guess I was 11, I got Atari 2600, the very first video game console, so I believe I have a long history with video games. And I was so excited. I loved it. I couldn't wait. It's the asteroids. And, I couldn't wait to get it. And it just so happens that the one I had that they bought was broken. It wouldn't turn on Christmas morning. So I got it, and I couldn't play it. And it's Christmas, so all the stores are closed. So I had to wait until December 26th to go get another one. So I spent Christmas Day looking at a broken Atari. Isn't that awful? That's like getting the red ring of death. So you open up the Xbox, on Christmas Day. Red ring. It was basically that. That means I've gotten the red ring quite a few times. I've got the red ring before it was cool. Really.
That sucks.
Oh, it did suck.
One does not simply get the red ring.
Yeah, I know, really. I actually I remember getting up wicked early the 26th. Like, I went to bed at like 8 at night to wake up at 6 in the morning. Atari? Yeah, absolutely.
Atari!
Exactly. It was so awful. What an awful Christmas that was. But besides that was presents. A lot of my Christmas memories in terms of meaning actually are, because I'm an NF, are actually rather spiritual and even mystical and contemplative. I actually liked going to church on Christmas Eve. It was very, very serious, and there was incense, and at one point in my church they would light, I think they still do this at Catholic masses, they light this big sort of fire, almost like the Olympic flame. It's this big thing they light outside the church. And
right, don't they do something with candles too?
They used to. I remember we used to light, sometimes it would all be pitch black in the church and everybody would be holding a candle and stuff like that. And I would love to bring them home. I used to try to take everybody's and bring them home. I don't know, I just thought it was awesome, because they had these cardboard things. Right, exactly. But that part of it is the deeper meaning of trying to, that's why I'm doing this episode, to try to get into that part of it. And if you don't want to take it from a religious point of view, that's fine, I don't care. This is my meaning. But sort of sort of the idea that, Christmas and Christianity in general as a set of ideas and as a set of symbolism written in narrative. Okay, so I don't take a concrete, literal view at all.
I do, probably.
Yeah, but that's okay. The way I look at it is through the symbolic, metaphorical nature of it, and that nature of it is all about transformation. It's about personal transformation. The whole purpose of Christianity is transformation. Okay, that's the symbolism of the resurrection. I mean, the whole bit, the passion, the crucifixion, the resurrection. It's losing the self, suffering in the losing of the self, transforming and transcending the self.
Okay, can I ask something?
Sure.
Is it telling us that we need to transform, or does it in any way say how we can transform?
Well, in terms of need, it's needing to transform because that is the better path. I don't think it's like a total. I mean, I know in religion it comes across as you must transform, but I don't think that's actually what, in my opinion, what it is. I don't think it's about that at all. It's more like we can transform. And what's the second part?
Does it tell us how?
Does it tell us how? Yes, but unfortunately, it's written in NF. That's the problem. That's why it gets all misconstrued.
Feelings, literal word. Feelings.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, again,
complex word.
Yeah, you have to go to sort of a deeper place. But I think it's transformation for anybody. It's really sort of rising above yourself by not being so selfish. You know what I mean? It's the letting go of the self and not the selfish needs that allows you to transcend the self. And that could be an SJ way, an SJ in terms of taking one for the team and sacrifice. That's a way of being transforming as an SJ, and I think Christmas puts you into that space.
The sacrifice?
Well, even the sacrifice part, you know what I mean? You have to,
I do think that's part of like something that SJs do, kind of like. If like an SJ were to go out in his perfect way, I think it might actually be like sacrificing himself.
Sure, in a very sort of dutiful sense.
Right. No.
Yeah, that's
like
that. Right. That's SJ. NF is much more martyrdom symbolic. I'll let you beat me up so that I can show you what it's like to not be nonviolent. That kind of thing.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Standing there and taking a beating like a man.
Not even like a man. But allowing, think of, allowing the suffering to take place and as a deeper symbol of a commitment to these ideals. That's why NF's a very sort of non-violent and things like that.
Okay, what about, like, wasn't there, like, a historical picture of a monk who set himself on fire or something?
Sure, that's actually, that's Buddhist, but yeah, yep. That's a type of NF kind of thing.
Okay.
You could look at the crucifixion like that, very other things like that. That doesn't mean you have to martyr yourself to have the meaning of Christmas.
Stuff that happened in the civil rights movement, probably.
Yeah, there you go, now you're getting there. NT, I think transformation is using their abilities, letting go of the ego of being smart and just letting the whatever idea that they're working on take over, even at the sake of losing the self or having the self destroyed. You know what I mean? As opposed to I won, I got the best idea.
Right. Here's okay. So does that mean that not to make, I'm not trying to make this stupid or whatever, but
no,
the Grinch.
Sure, the Grinch. Go back to the Grinch.
That he went through that transformation.
Yes, because suddenly it wasn't about him anymore, and so what did he do? He enacted the plan in reverse. You know what I mean? Then he had to save he almost lost it. Right, at one point the thing had actually almost tipped over, and he had to save it. And then
he got the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2.
That's right. Which wouldn't be 12. Would that be 12?
No. What's great is that I saw that right now, and I go, why couldn't they just put that as 12?
Because that's Dr. Seuss.
I know. But it's like, and I thought about that, like, oh god, that's me being so SJ about that.
Sure, and I think SP transformation is also about that, not to be about that there's more to having a good time, and that these great skills of being an SP need to be turned into something else to help people. Like, think of him again, let's get stupid again, like Yukon Cornelius, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he just helps out.
Right. At first it was just about him chasing the gold, and then he, used helped his ability
and took down
the abominable and trained him. You know what I mean? That's going beyond yourself. And that's Christmas. Now, whether that actually happens or not in the world is another thing.
Yeah. Well, it happens in different ways, obviously.
Hopefully it happens at all with that, So what do you think is a way that can be done? Well, what's a way you think you can do it this Christmas? What impact does this have that may change the way you view Christmas or act in Christmas?
Well, I do think, it happened like when me and Mom were doing the tree, the event happened before that. So I do have to say, I do think.
I mean, this happened and then you decorated the tree? Like it happened first?
I think so.
Okay. So it was very close.
I'm not completely sure. It's somewhere close around there. No, yeah. I think that, yeah. Because, Mom was, I don't want to get into it.
Flipping out?
No, she saw, the pictures of the kids who were starting to show up on the news. Not of them dead, but,
No, of course not, right.
Them. and like she just got all sad, and she came up to my room, and like I'm like still half asleep, getting up, and I'm like, Mom, what? And then she just comes in the bed and hugs me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, but um, when we were decorating the tree, I do have to say I think I acted a little more like kiddish than I usually do,
Oh, that's interesting.
and that I was all around her, being with her, and all that.
Hmm.
It may have bugged her, but it didn't really. I just wanted to have fun and be with her.
That's interesting. Because when things like this happen, I always have to sort of get back into sort of a Kierkegaardian leap of faith, because when things like this happen, and I always return to this question, which is, are the nihilists right? I did an episode with Josh about this. That I always, when things like this happen, I always get, are the nihilists right? There is no foundational truth? Is there just nothingness, and nothing matters, and nothing actually, why even bother with any of this? And
Okay, yeah, but that's one event. If you look at all the events that have ever happened, there's stuff that proves both.
all right, but that would still be okay. But that would then validate the Camus version of absurdity, that's what makes human living so difficult, is that it's an absurd situation where, yeah, sometimes there's good foundational truth, and then there's nothing, and it never works out right.
So?
All right, but that's a perpetual suffering.
But that's life.
Right. Well, that's actually what he would say, and that's why you have to make choices about it. But that's also painful. I'm an NF. That's difficult. So
The
I always,
feelings.
yeah, exactly. So I always get to a point where I think I have to sort of, I get to a low point where I think, my God, are the nihilists correct? Is this is just nothingness? And then I have to sort of take a leap through the nothingness and try to find, some sort of deeper, at least some sort of deeper existential choice of meaning. And that's why we're doing this particular episode like this. All right. In what ways do you think um, that we're not doing these things? What are ways do you think that we could be doing better? When I say we, I mean you and I. I don't mean like the world, not abstractly.
I guess. Well, for me, I guess just like not being as. I guess, fun and like all around like nice and like fun with like you or mom and whatnot, and I'm just acting like a jerk teenager, like whatever you're saying and all that. For me, I guess when I'm acting like a douche, I'm not exactly doing that.
Hmm. I find I'm not doing that when I'm being selfish, when I'm having one of my maudlin pity parties. I'm having a pity Christmas party. Nobody loves me, and I'm not getting anything I want for Christmas, and I don't know what my plans are, and
But why don't you just make plans?
no, I do make plans, but I mean, it's difficult.
It's half-assed
But
plans.
half-ass plans, but there's always like it's complex. Um, but just whatever, nobody cares about me, and what's the deal, and I'm like, that kind of. I think that's because
I'm gonna go to a party and bring it all down.
yeah, pretty much, exactly. And this is something I've been trying to say a couple of times, and that is, and even recently, and that is, self-loathing and self-pity is its own form of narcissism, and its own, because it's an egoism, because it's all about you. It's still all about you, 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 you. You know what I mean? Even though you're hating yourself, it's still about you. It's not about others. So because people always assume narcissism is about this superiority, and it is. I mean, but the other side, and they're connected actually, is a self-hatred, a self-loathing, a self-pity. But that's still selfish. It's all. Pity parties are all about you. It's not about the world. Absolutely. All right, so we got about one more minute left. So let's say something. Let's end on the up note about the meaning of Christmas.
It's a time of giving.
Sure, it's a time of giving, and I think that's part of the transformation. I was talking about. All right, what do you then? What has any giving taken place that you can feel good about?
That I've given?
Yeah, or at least witnessed.
Well, I think I always feel good when when these tragedies happen, when people go off and do something or put the cross somewhere, do that and like make them a little, place, whether it, is actually on their grave or like just somewhere.
All right, the shrines that
Right,
come
the
up.
shrines. I always like seeing that, and they've done that definitely with what's happening.
No, it's huge. Yeah.
Supposedly I've heard from mom like they're having like 2 funerals each day,
Yes. Yeah.
so each family can get.
That's right. Also, Well, let me tell you, it could be a small act. Today, we were going into Walmart, and I always give money to Salvation Army. The guy with the bucket. I've been doing that. I never not give money. Even if I have just like 20s, I'll give it 20. I don't care.
I've given
right
for stuff like that. I've given tons of money.
Right, but today, okay, but that's what I want to talk about because today I didn't have any cash on me. I only had my card. I didn't have any cash, and I came by. I was like, oh shit, I didn't have any cash. And I asked, do you have any cash? And you did, and you put the money in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's a nice giving moment that we shared because I didn't have any money on me. It's an ENFP thing. We don't usually have cash on us. We're bad with that. That's really we are.
Those cards were made for you.
Oh, they were. They absolutely. I absolutely. Thank God for the 21st century. All right. So I guess that's it. And so to everybody, to all the viewers and fans of NF Geeks, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday around your holiday tree.
It's a Christmas tree.
And all the other holidays that you may be, the solstice or whatever, and, whatever you're celebrating.
Have fun with your dreidels.
Have fun, right, and Ramadan or whatever it is you're celebrating, Festivus, whatever makes you happy. Have a happy holiday season from NF Geeks. And Noah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Noah, Merry Christmas. Come here.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Noah.
Merry Christmas.